know, it's something to read about and hear about Michael Jackson and his estate and his children that he adopted and left behind. His daughter, Paris Jackson, along with his son, Prince, have had an ongoing back and forth with Catherine Jackson, who's the mother of Michael Jackson. He left primary care with his mother, Miss Catherine, and all I've heard over the years is Prince has been taking Catherine, his quote-unquote grandmother now, his quote-unquote black grandmother, taking her to court in regards to trying to make sure that he gets every dime that he can cipher out of his adopted father's estate to live on. Now, I've never seen any major projects that the Jackson children have worked on that are the children of Michael Jackson. They have not dropped a record or a movie that I have just seen multi-million-dollar records being broke on going to see those children. Okay, and now we see Paris Jackson wants answers on her dad's estate. Now, we all know that her father allegedly had a lot of debt that was associated with his estate during the time of his unfortunate passing. And it was also a very unfortunate thing that those children were left without the care of their father, because that is what Michael really wanted. And now what I want to know more about this case as it goes on, because they must have found possible new money, maybe new royalties that were not discovered during his time of passing. And so that is yet to unfold. What do you think about this? You know, I just feel like I've never really seen the Michael Jackson's children really connect to the community that he grew up with, which is primarily the Black American community and the pop and the R&B.
Paris Jackson, Michael Jackson's daughter, is raising concerns about irregular payments made by her late father's estate. Let's bring in our News Nation entertainment expert, Paula Froelich, who is here with the scoop. Paula, hello. We all know Paris Jackson. We know she's a daughter of late King of Pop, but she's upset about some payments that aren't making their way to her. What's the issue?
She is. So here's the deal. When Michael Jackson died in 2009, which is, I know, it's that far away. It was like 16 years ago. His estate was worth $2 billion. Wow. Now, in the interim, the estate, the people who control it, a guy who used to be in the music industry and an accountant, they were close friends of his. It was very smart to leave the heads of trust as someone who is not in the family, because of course that causes horrific bickering and fighting. So these guys claim that they have now built up the trust by $3 billion, which would bring it to $5 billion. And looking at the stock market, you understand. However, every trade, every deal has to go through lawyers. So, for example, 2 years ago, remember the big fight that Catherine had with Blanket, a.k.a. Biggie? They wanted to sell half of his catalog for $600 million to Sony. Catherine said no. They fought it out in court. They ended up selling the half for $600 million. Now, that was a very big, good deal. However, Paris is looking through the numbers, and I get it. You're supposed to. No one should have free, no one should have free reign. And she's saying, hey, wait a minute. 3 law firms are claiming $625,000 in fees, and here's the problem. She says 2 of them have already been paid in full, which is, according to her, illegal, because you are allowed to do the initial payment, but not the full payment until a court says okay. So there are many checks and balances here. And the lawyers are saying, no, wait. So here we've got this statement. This is exactly what Paris says. through her lawyers. She says, during this 6-month period alone in 2018, executors requested that the court approve $625,000 in payments to 3 law firms for what they say is uncaptured time. These irregular payments raise serious and substantial questions about executors' ability to effectively supervise counsel and refrain from wasteful 6-figure gift giving to themselves and their colleagues. Ooh. Now that is wild. That is a serious burn. And, you know, it's just saying you're wasting my money.
Is the estate responding?
Yes, the estate has responded, and they have responded quite strongly. This is exactly what they said. The executor's approval of payments to attorneys have been made with the same business judgment that has earned this estate over $3 billion. We are confident that the objected to payments are appropriate, all of which have been approved by the probate court. So, you know, this is right now, they're going back and forth. And of course, the only winners are really the lawyers.
Yeah, we'll see how this
is billing hourly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The community that he grew up with, which is primarily the Black American community and the pop and the R&B, sectors of entertainment in the entertainment industry. And I just feel like there's a disconnect there with his kids. I've never seen his kids with the other Jackson grandkids do anything in collaboration openly. Even when they go out, like when I see them with paparazzi, I never see them together. And I just feel like it's so weird. I've never seen a Black child being adopted by a white celebrity family member. A Black child being adopted by a white celebrity, and their child growing up after their passing and just being so focused on their estate. And this is why you got to be careful on what your intentions are and the decisions that you make. When you have so much money, you have to be wise. You definitely want to be an open-minded person, loving person, accepting, and all of that. But also keep in mind that the people that love you from day one, that was with you when you didn't have anything, don't forget about those people. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget about the little people that helped to get you to where you are at, and they didn't take from you, they only added to you. I look at Kobe Bryant and his parents and all that, and how their relationship fell out before he passed, and and even after he passed, how his parents had to sell his trophy off and a couple of other paraphernalia that they had of memorabilia that they had of him in the NBA and all of that, just to be able to make ends meet. And I understand your kids can't live off of you. You're supposed to lay up for your children. I get that. But then at the same time, his widow, she was going back and forth with her mom on a property that she was given by Kobe before he passed. And they were like in an open public brawl, debate over who gets this, who gets that. And these are people who was not there when Kobe was just developing. Those days when he was sick, those days when the days that were ugly, the back and forth, the everyday gruel of having to raise your child, and then after you raise them, the investment that you put into them when they become a young adult, so that they can get to where they need to get to. People forget about that when they get a little change in their hand. They get amnesia, and sometimes when you do that and you make decisions, God forbid something happens to you and you leave this earth, the people that were really there for you, a lot of times they're the ones that's left out. And this money is now being divided between children that are really not his, only on paper, and attorneys, people who don't have any connection to his talent, what the Jacksons built up in Indiana, in that little house with 9 children, just making ends meet. None of that matters, because now people are getting bonuses and just living high on the hog. Let me know what y'all think about this. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this estate every 5 minutes. The checks is running late. Now these big bonuses are being paid out to people that had nothing to do with this man's empire, his talent. Please like, share, and subscribe.